friends, welcome back to our chapter reading. Today we are going to finish up this book called The Trouble with Chickens by Doreen Cronin and illustrated by Kevin Cornell. Chapter 20, RHBR. Tell me everything you know, now, I said when Sugar came to. Sugar spilled her guts for real this time. There was still one step left in Vince's plan. As soon as it was dark, they had to help him get his funnel off. Vince says when we're done, everyone will know that you're a dupe and he's a dirty double-crosser, she ended. Do you have any idea what that means? I asked, exacerbated. None whatsoever, she said. It means Vince is a liar and you are in serious trouble. It was Dirt. Where have you been? I asked. Under the couch, Dirt answered. Doing what? I asked her. RHBWRing, she said. Stop mumbling, I said. Dirt rolled her eyes. Oh, I got it, I said. Moosh's voice arrived in the kitchen before she did. I'm not leaving here without Sugar, so let her go, JJ. She can't help you, she said. She stopped dead in her tracks. Dirt, where have you been? Under the couch, she said. Doing what? Demanded her mother. RHBWRing, she said. Stop mumbling, said Moosh. Dirt let out a heavy sigh. Never mind, we're leaving, said Moosh. I'm sorry for all the trouble, JJ, but I'm getting my family out of here. Where are Poppy and Sweetie? Asked Sugar. She sounded worried. I sent them to wake Vince up so we can take off his funnel and get out of here, said Moosh. Dirt was through the door before Moosh could finish her sentence. Sugar made that funny sound again like she was going to pass out. This time I caught her before she fell over. Moosh, that funnel is the only thing between Vince and your chicks, I said. Once that thing is off, you're doomed, all of you. Moosh ignored me. I won't be tricked again, she said. We're leaving. Moosh, you're not listening. I was getting pretty agitated. Vince is not going to let you go. I shoved Sugar out through the bars to let Moosh know I was serious. Dirt was back in a flash with Poppy and Sweetie behind her. Mom, the doggy door is locked. We can't get out. Moosh looked scared. I can take him, she squawked. No, you can't, I said. Dirt took a good look around the kitchen. The note on the fridge, the lock on the cage, the recycle bin full of bottles. I have a plan, she said. Then she grabbed a pencil and paper and drew her own diagram. There's a little diagram she's drawing. Chapter 21, Rescue. The sun had set and the kitchen was dark. The fireworks had begun. They shed just enough light for us to make out our own shadows. Unlocking the bolt was easy for Moosh. All it took was some jerky movements of her head with her beak in the loop of the bolt. I have to admit, she's pretty handy with that sharp beak of hers. I had Poppy, Sweetie, and Dirt in the cage with me, but we could barely see one another. I knew that they were counting on me, but it suddenly hit me that I was counting on them too. It was not a great feeling. All kinds of things can affect the outcome of a rescue. Timing, weather, terrain, fatigue, and sometimes just dumb luck. We were counting on everything going just right. That rarely happens with people. I had no idea what the odds were with chickens. Vince arrived right on time. About 2 feet in front of the crate, Moosh stopped him in his tracks. I'll take off the funnel. I've got the sharpest beak, she said. Her voice shook a little, but Vince didn't seem to notice. Fine by me, said Vince. Moosh had to act fast now. If she hesitated, we were lost. I had a new appreciation for the pajama guy in the snowy cave, the lost skier in the Alps, and the victims waiting under the piles of debris. My heartbeat always pounded with excitement as the rescue got closer. Theirs was always pounding with fear. It was not the same feeling. I liked the rescue beat much better. This is harder than it looks, said Moosh, buying herself some time as she worked furiously on Vince's collar instead of the funnel. Hurry it up, Vince growled. I said nothing, but silently, I seconded the motion. He sounded like he meant business. Moosh stood her ground and kept on pecking. Lower your head, she told him. Carefully, Moosh clipped the infrared tag off Vince's collar and held it in her beak. Then she dropped it to the floor and quickly kicked it to Sugar. Wait for it, I told myself. My heart was pounding. Vince caught a glimpse of Sugar running toward the crate with his tag. Wait for it. I held my breath. There goes Sugar running to the door with that tag. While Sugar was running back to the cage, Dirt, Poppy, and Sweetie ran out the back of the crate between the bars. Now! I threw open the unlocked cage door and made just enough room for Vince. Vince came down hard on his front paws and slid right in head first. It wasn't the linoleum that did him in, it was the empty plastic bottles. Just one more reason to recycle. Gingerly, I stepped over his big back paws and out the door. Dirt did the honors of slamming the door closed. Moosh slid the lock back into place. Vince was inside the cage. I was outside the cage. Just the way I liked it. Great plan, I said to Dirt. Great teacher, she replied. My heart was still pounding, but it was the rescue beat now. So they tricked Vince and put him in the cage. Chapter 22, Inside Out. There was still something I didn't understand. I turned to Vince. Why did you chase me away from here the first time? What about that wrestling match with the doggy door? Big search and rescue hero, he snarled. Dogs like you are easy to read. If you didn't think the chicks were in danger, there wouldn't be any rescue, would there? He had a point. Poppy and Sweetie were next. And you've been watching television for 2 days? We came for the TV. We stayed for the books, said Sweetie. Couldn't argue with that. The fireworks were over and it was time to go. Those little chicks were still in a heap of trouble with their mom, but at least my trouble was over. What's wrong with you anyway? I asked Vince. What do you mean? The giant funnel. Chronic ear infection. I changed the subject. Why did you let Sugar in here in the first place? Can't reach my ears. Sorry? She scratches my ears with her beak. I tried not to laugh. I still had something on my mind. How did you know that Sugar wrote the notes? I asked Moosh. She took a deep breath. She was back in my good graces and wanted to stay there. Well, call it mother's instinct, she said. You could have told me, I answered. You would have walked away, she replied. True, I said. I was just a worried mom looking for my kids. I did what I had to do. She was looking me in the eye. Her left foot was perfectly still. All right, Moosh, you and me are square. I thought she smiled, but again, it's tough to tell with a beak. Chapter 23, Reward. About that cheeseburger, I said to Moosh. There's no cheeseburger, she said, but you knew that. I guess I did, I replied. Moosh headed back to the living room and hopped up on the couch. I watched as Sugar waited a beat and then did the same. The rest of the brood followed. They were finally all together, but there was a huge spot between Moosh and Sugar. It didn't make any sense. That must be one big chicken you're missing, I joked. Moosh looked right at me. Sugar motioned for me with her tiny wing. The spot between Moosh and Sugar was just my size. It did look kind of comfy up there. They were saving him a seat on the couch. I jumped up on the couch. Moosh, me, Sugar, Poppy, Sweetie, Dirt. Sometimes you find yourself exactly where you belong. And there they all are together. Here is the epilogue. Vince the funnel got his ear tubes as planned and came back with an even bigger funnel wrapped around his head. Occasionally we hear a crash coming from the house and we know he still hasn't quite adjusted to it. I had to give Vince credit though. He knew exactly how to push my buttons. Smart guy. Can't stand him, but he's a smart guy. Sugar's teaching the rest of the family to read. We helped ourselves to a few books before we left the house that night. Barb doesn't seem to have noticed. Sometimes when the chicks gather in the doghouse, I entertain them with the tales of rescue from my glory days. It was Dirt who asked me why my rescue days were over. She always catches me off guard, that one. I wasn't ready to tell that story yet, but sooner or later, I'll tell. And if Sugar has her way, and she usually does, I guess it'll be sooner, not later, because Sugar, well, that chick will sure go a long way out of her way for a good story. The end. I hope that you guys enjoyed reading this book with me. I thought it was really cute and silly. So we will pick back up next time with another book that has the same doggy J.J. Tully. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.